most iconic venue in all of combat sports.
The world's greatest arena.
Madison Square Garden.
I'm cranking up on the throttle, victory is mine.
Championship triple header.
Step back, I'm going in.
3 title fights at the mecca of combat sports.
This is how legends are made.
2 of the best strawweights in the world.
No one is taking this belt from me.
Both women are aggressive, relentless, and extremely unpredictable.
I want my belt. That's mine. I want it back.
TJ Dillashaw, come try me. Former teammates turned bitter rivals.
These guys do not like each other.
Georges St-Pierre is one of the best mixed martial artists of all time.
He will take on the winningest fighter in UFC history.
Michael Bisping.
Doesn't get any better than that.
The biggest pay-per-view of 2017.
We're talking combat sports history.
This is how legends are made.
Good morning, everybody. Thanks for waiting. And welcome to the Hockey Hall of Fame. This is cool. We really appreciate them letting us do this here. It's incredible. Obviously, Saturday, November 4th, live from Madison Square Garden, we have 3 title fights. Bisping versus GSP, Garbrandt versus Dillashaw, and Jon Jacek versus Namajunas. Who has the first question?
Right here.
Hey.
Hey, how's it going, Dana?
Good.
Welcome back to Canada.
Thank you.
First question for you, actually. Why did you choose this venue and maybe not a bigger venue where fans would come out? Because George is obviously very popular in Canada.
Yeah, no, this was this opportunity popped up for us. These guys love GSP, so we had the opportunity to do this. Why would we not? This is incredible, you know. Last time I was here, obviously that was ridiculous too. One of the most incredible press events I've ever been a part of, you know, with Mayweather and McGregor, and then you know, this is just different, cool.
For sure, but why not a bigger venue though? Just because I think a lot of fans would have loved to come. I know it was only limited fans.
Yeah, because this was cool.
Because you people don't care about George anymore, by the sounds of it. That's why we had to come here and let you know that the lizard is coming out of retirement. We had to tell you this. Come on, you guys don't care anymore. George, say something. These are your people. Come on, address your public.
The lizard will put him out. The lizard will retire him.
Finally, listen, everybody, I just want to say a few things. First of all, very happy to be back in Toronto. I love this place. Got a lot of good friends here. Secondly, George, you stepped your game up. That's a lovely suit. And thirdly, no, I am not intoxicated.
Yeah. Next question's for Michael. Yeah, welcome back to Canada as well. Obviously, George is known for his wrestling. Do you feel like he's the best wrestler you fought in your career?
George isn't the best wrestler, but he has fantastic timing. That's what George is so good at. If you watch George, the initial blast double, he takes people down. If people give any kind of resistance to that initial shot, then he's really not successful a lot of the times. So therefore it doesn't really concern me. I'm a bigger guy, I'm a stronger guy. George is, you know, underneath that suit there, you can see some, you know, some nice little muscles he's been working on very hard, but he's still going to be the smallest guy that I've ever fought. I'm going to stop that initial shot. He's going to waste energy trying to take me down. He's going to get tired, more and more tired. Look at that tongue sticking out in your cheek. He did that last week. That's when you know I'm pissing George off, because he does this. It's kind of weird. I don't know why you do it, but I can tell I'm getting to you, George. You're going to waste all your energy trying to take me down. See, when you wrestle, that's when you're trying to hide from fighting. I don't hide from fighting, and George is going to have to fight me.
And George, question for you. News this week came out that you're going to be training with a former opponent in Jake Shields. Bisping's only been submitted once in his career. Do you feel like you can submit him in this fight?
Yeah, I've worked on a lot of different things now. My game have stepped up and tremendously in the last in those 4 years. So I'm not the same guy that I was when I left off the sport. I'm a much better version, and he's gonna find out the bad way.
Listen, here's the thing, and I don't doubt you've been working on other things, because that's what we do as martial artists. But at the end of the day, you can't reinvent the wheel. You know, there's still, the fundamentals are still the same kicks, the same punches, the same submissions. What, have you invented a new submission I've never seen before? A kick I've never seen? What exactly are you going to do? You're going to jab, double leg, bore everybody to sleep. I, on the other side, is going to try and knock you out.
I'm going to do whatever I want to do, whenever I want it to do.
Okay. Water is wet, fire burn. What is it? How does it go, George? Water is wet, fire burn. Water is wet, fire burn, and finish it. This is your line, George. Fuck GSP.
George, could you just explain a bit about, over here, George, the role that Freddie Roach played in your return? If you take him out of the equation, do you feel you're getting set for this fight in November?
No, Freddie is very important for me. Of course, Michael Bisping, one of his biggest strengths is his hands. He's got very good hands. He's very fast. And yeah, I'm working with the best boxing trainer and yeah, to try to negate his strength. And I do believe I'm better than Bisping in this department as well. So he's got a lot more things to worry about than I have about him. I can take him down, strike him, submit him. I can do all these things. You know, cardio never been an issue for me. You know, I can go all day. You know, he's got a lot more things to worry. I got a lot more weapon than he does. He's only bigger. That's it. You know, I'm
Calm down, George.
I got a lot more weapon. My fighting IQ is much higher than his. I can adjust myself to a fight.
Calm down.
And I'll take care of the problem.
Calm down. You said I'm the angry guy. Sounds like we're not fighting for 3 weeks, George. Relax. Hey, Freddie Roach. That's all we hear these days. What about Faraz Zahabi? He's been with you for years. Why don't you give Faraz a shout out? Fuck Freddie. He's jumped on the bandwagon at the last minute. What about Faraz? Come on, shout out your home team. Shout out TriStar.
You're here.
Come on.
Faraz is here too.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
For Dana, last year you were pretty outspoken about the fact you were pretty adamant you didn't think that George would be coming back. When did things change in your mind to see that George did want to, in fact, make a return?
When he flew to Las Vegas and we sat down and had dinner, and he let me know that I absolutely want to come back, I want to fight, and let's get a deal done. So we did.
Was it fairly easy after that meeting to get a deal done?
Yeah, we you know, right? I mean, it was pretty easy after that. We got it done.
Hi. Dana, quick question for you. Do you think the spectacle is coming back into this sport? We saw with the McGregor thing, it was bigger than anything we've seen in recent times, and now you've got some pretty big names here on stage. Is the spectacle coming back to, I guess, big-name boxing and big-name UFC?
Is the what coming back?
The spectacle, sort of like the big must-see event.
I mean, every year, listen, we'll have a few events that are major events. Not every single fight we do is a major event, but you know, we have a few a year, and then we have some pop up that make no sense, and you would never imagine that fight would happen. That happens to us every once in a while too, like McGregor Mayweather.
And George, you were off for 4 years, as we know, and you spoke very openly about your issues with OCD. For people who don't understand it, can you sort of speak to sort of what you went through, and now 4 years later, how you were able to sort of get it under control to be able to get back in the ring?
Yeah, I'm very happy. It took some time off. You know, I was always rushing, fighting, preparing for the next guy, and the next guy. So now I feel like I had you know, sometimes you need a break, you know, and I took a break, and I'm happy to be back. You know, it feel like rejuvenated.
Hey, one for Mike. Obviously, we're just a few weeks away from the fight, right here in front of you.
Oh, yeah.
You're having to fly across the country to do this media day or across the continent. Is this kind of annoying having to break camp here so close to the fight?
No, not in the slightest. I'm having a great time. See, George keeps saying that I'm an angry guy. I'm having a great time. This is the best training camp I've ever had in my life. So I trained Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday in preparation for this. So, you know, yeah, it's no problem. It's a necessary evil. I'm ready to go right now. We still got just over 3 more weeks. So yeah, no, this is no problem. The next 3 weeks for me is just overkill, getting extra ready, you know, working on getting back to my feet for when George tries to hide from fighting. That's what people do. When they take you down, they're just trying to hide from fighting because they haven't got the balls to stand and fight like a man. Right, George? Come on,
We'll see
say something. Come on, George.
And for you, George.
There's the tongue again. Did you see it? There it is. Do it again.
George, last time we saw you guys together when you were facing off, you gave Michael a little push during the stare down. What happened there? Was that just your emotion getting the best of you, or what happened?
That's that he's putting his hand on me. He's like, get out of here.
I was just admiring your muscles, big biceps.
He was jealous because I was in a better dress than his, you know. So
Hey, George, I have never once looked at you and been jealous, pal. Never once. 5'9", 6'2". Leave it there.
He'll be after the fight, I guarantee you.
Oh, I guarantee it.
And George, I mean, where does your feelings towards Michael stack up towards some other opponents? I mean, I know you kind of had a dislike for Nick Diaz, or just is this kind of fun for you, or is there actually some disdain there?
All this is a mind game, and then I'm used to that. They always come out with the same song all the time. I hear it before, so it's no problem, and it's not gonna change anything to me. I'm focusing. I do my talking in the fight, and that's it. You know, I'm not. English is not my first language. If I would start a war. If I would start, thank you. If I would start a war of word with Michael, he's British. I'm French Canadian, and I can. My English is not as good as his, so he will win every time. So I choose my battle. I'm gonna fight him in the octagon and beat him there. That's where it's important for me.
Yeah, go George, everybody. Cheer. Enjoy that cheer now, because there is no way on earth that you can win. Listen, I respect George. Do you want me to talk, or do you want to get the fuck out? GSP, let's go. Enjoy it, Canada. Embrace it. GSP is gonna get fucking wiped out. That's about it. That's about it. Listen, I respect George. George is a good fighter. George is a great athlete. He's a good martial artist. I was expecting some more you douchebags to have the fucking headbands on from Karate Kid today. Where are you all? Where are the GSP fans? Come on, George. What the fuck's going on? This is your place. Where are the hordes of people? I'm really upset. Listen, I respect George. I know it's going to be a tough fight. I'm not expecting a walk in the park, but I'm having a bit of fun with him. Of course I'm going to bust his balls. I'm going to bust his fucking face in 2 weeks, 3 weeks, so I'm going to bust his balls now.
And just one for Dana really quickly, a little bit off topic, but you guys announced your main event for your next show in Canada yesterday between Dos Anjos and Lawler. Is it safe to assume that's a #1 contender fight in the welterweight division? Winner of that probably fights Woodley next?
Yeah.
Question first for all three of you guys, but first for Michael, right in front of you, right here, Mike. When you realized you were coming to Toronto, obviously Georges St-Pierre's country and stuff like that, you're dealing with hostile territory. Do you prepare yourself mentally to deal with the fans here and the media, or do you just show up? Because you've been here so many times.
Yeah, you know, listen, I've got a lot of friends here in Toronto, so coming here for me was great. You know, I love this city. Of course, George is Canadian. You people should, of course, cheer for George, and I expect nothing less. Fighting predominantly in America and all over the world, actually, for all of my career, I'm always going into hostile territory. So this is nothing different. And George he's been a fantastic representative for you guys. You know, he's a great martial artist, he's a great fighter. He was an undefeated champion. So of course you guys respect him, and I respect him, of course. Even though I'm sitting here talking all this shit, I respect the hell out of George, and that's why I've trained the way I've trained. Believe you me, this will be the best version of myself there in 3 weeks.
And George, for yourself, just to follow up on the previous question regarding opponents trying to get into your head, does it ever get to the point where you just roll your eyes because you've heard it so many times, or does it actually get to the point where it's like...
Don't put words in his mouth.
It actually does annoy you, or you want to actually make him pay, because as you know, emotion is dangerous in a fight. You've got to stay focused.
I'm very good at not letting my emotion taking over.
Apart from when he punches people on stage. Which he did last week, George.
No, I didn't. If I would have punched you, you would be knocked out on the floor.
Because, because George knocks people out all the time.
For me,
he hasn't had a finish since 2009.
For me, I found it amusing. It's not even annoying, it's amusing.
Who was the last person you knocked out, George?
I'm having a good time right now. It's amusing.
Who was the last person you knocked out?
I've been... You'll be the next. You'll be the next.
La personne who knocked out there? Who was it?
He's the next one. It's not gonna go 5 rounds.
I'll tell you this. I knocked out 3 people this week in training, and that's true story. I knocked out 3 people this week. You haven't knocked anyone out in fucking God knows how long, pal. So cut the bullshit, okay? No need to lie to your people, George. These are your people. Don't lie to them.
Dana, an easy segue right to you. I mean, as a promoter, you're there to promote fights, but when you get 2 guys like this, or at least one for sure, and Michael, that makes your job easier. Do you enjoy it? Just sit back and let the guys do what they want to say? And a second part to that question, do you ever sit back and have a conversation with them, like, guys, don't say this or don't say that, or do you just let them go?
I've never told any fighter what to say or what not to say in 16, 17 years.
I wish he did. I'd say a lot less dumb stuff.
Yeah, no, it is what it is. When we promote fights, there's either guys who can talk, they're not. There's guys who respect each other. At the end of the day, if you look at the UFC over the last however many years, we've had a handful of shows that have been bad. These guys deliver. Whether they talk or they don't talk, they always deliver.
Dana, that may be too far before the fight to ask this, but I mean, George is obviously a huge star in this country. Do you have any idea about how this is tracking and what the interest level is in Canada at this point?
No, not yet. It's too soon. We won't know until 10 days before the fight how it's tracking.
Okay. And then, Michael, you mentioned this training camp going amazingly. I know both before and after the Rockhold fight, you'd said that the more condensed camp had allowed you to maintain more power. I mean, what have you taken from that? And I mean, is that sort of what's driven this
yeah, I mean, obviously I've done this for a long time, and I've learned I did pretty much consistently overtrain. My last fight, I actually shot a movie halfway through the training camp. I haven't done that this time. I've been focused 100% on George. I'd be a fool not to. He brings a lot of things to the table. So this training camp predominantly has been working on stopping people taking me down and smothering me and cuddling me and stopping fighting and trying to focus on actually fighting, okay? Trying to give the people a show, George. Trying to fight. What's it called? The Ultimate What Championship. What's it called? Or is it wrestling? Is it wrestling or fighting? What is it?
You'll be in a fight. Don't worry about
Nice! There we go.
And then, I mean, this is his first time fighting at middleweight. Are there particular fights of his that you have been able to revisit in order to sort of anticipate?
I try watching his fights. I fall asleep all the time. I swear to God, I do. I sit there, I have a coffee, which is a stimulant to keep me awake, and I still can't do it. I fall asleep every time.
This coming from a guy who defended his belt one time. I defended 9 times.
Yeah.
Who are you, man?
George!
Who are you? What have you done?
I'm just
what have you
started.
done?
Hey, I've got more wins
Zero.
in the UFC than anyone. And I was fighting people on steroids like yourself. I hear the stories, George. I hear the stories.
I've done it too. Way more. Oh, yeah.
What about that camping trip you went on to avoid USADA?
You don't even believe that yourself,
So you know what I'm talking about. Set yourself up there, pal.
See, all this to me is relevant. It's to take me out of my mental game, and it's not gonna work.
This is part of your mental game.
No matter what he says,
mental?
no matter what he does, it's irrelevant for me. It's irrelevant. I'm gonna beat you up November 4. That's all matter to me.
Okay.
That's the end of it. And then you're gonna go and retire. It will be the end of you.
We'll see, buddy. It's gonna take a bigger pile of shit than you to do it. That's a fact.
You wanted to have a big payday, then after you're gone on the sunset, that's what's gonna happen.
I'm the guy that's been fighting the whole. Look, he's getting mad. Look at him. He's gonna punch me again. Are you gonna punch me? Promise?
November 4.
Can you keep your hands to yourself this time, George? Can you set an example for Canada? It's not a good example for kids punching people on stage. Not a good example saying if you lose, you're gonna quit, is it? Because if you lose, you're gonna quit, right? That's what you said.
Yeah, if I lose, but I'm not planning on losing anytime soon.
That's called a little bitch where I come from.
I'm not planning on losing anytime soon. I don't lose. I do not lose.
I'm pretty sure you got knocked out of Matt Serra, who's a smaller guy than you.
You get knocked out a couple of times too.
Yeah, it happens, buddy.
And you'll get.
Hey, I'm not sitting here saying I've never lost a fight. I've fought all the time while you.
And what happened to Matt Serra? I beat Matt Serra.
Here we go.
And I knocked him out after.
Emotion from the lizard. We got it. He's alive. Somebody check his heartbeat, please.
All the guy that beat
Somebody
me,
check his heartbeat.
He's
He's gonna bust a blood vessel. I can see a vein in his forehead now. Relax, George. Deep breath. Come on. Yoga. Meditate.
So, George, I'm asking this on behalf of RDS, so if you don't mind answering in French, followed by English. You've bulked up, obviously, for this fight to go to middleweight. You hired a nutritionist. What changed in your training regimen to get you to be a bigger man?
It was not really my training change, it's my nutrition. I never pay attention to really what I eat. I always eat whatever I want, whenever I want. And just changing the way I eat, it make a big difference. It took me like, this whole process was more than 6 months. I started like in last April. And a lot of people fail doing this because they try to do it during their training camp. When you add weight to yourself, you need to get used to that extra weight. Your body need time to adjust, and that's what I did.
Do you mind answering that in French as well?
Yeah. J'ai absolument rien changé de mon entraînement. Ce que j'ai changé, c'est ma nutrition, la façon que je mange et quand est-ce que je mange. Et c'est ce qui a fait une grosse différence dans mon gain de masse musculaire.
Both of you guys are champions. Demetrius Johnson this weekend had one of the ultimate...
George isn't a champion.
Both of you guys have been champions.
Thank you.
Demetrius Johnson had a fantastic
Only one champion up here, pal.
Demetrius Johnson had the ultimate championship performance this weekend. What did you guys take from that? What did you guys enjoy from watching that particular fight?
He's the best fighter of our era right now. I believe he's the best pound for pound right now. You know, every era has great fighter. You know, I talk about era. So some guys were the best at their time, and you never fight the same fighter twice. You know, because of fight, a lot of things makes people change. But right now, as we're speaking, the best pound for pound is Demetrius Johnson, no doubt.
It's very good.
All right, and finally, George, at 36, people can become more injury prone. Did you change your training regimen to avoid injuries ahead of your fight? If you could answer that in French, that would be great.
Can you repeat, please?
Did you have to change your training regimen at all to avoid injuries?
No, some little thing that I was doing were wrong. Some of my neurological pattern were wrong when my knee was buckled in when I was jumping and landing. So I fixed all that. This is not even a concern anymore. It's gone.
So you're no longer getting abducted by aliens, right? Because that's what you said.
I think you got hit too much on the head, my friend. I don't know what you taltalk about.
All right.
Do you mind answering in French
I'm not
as well?
the one talking about aliens, pal. So.
Do you mind answering that in French as well, George?
J'ai changé quelques petits trucs dans mon entraînement. Quand je sautais, mon genou allait vers l'intérieur. J'ai changé plusieurs choses du côté neurologique de mon système nerveux quand je saute et j'atterris pour être certain que les blessures ne se reproduisent plus.
Michael, just here, third row. Obviously winning Madison Square Garden would be like, you've talked about retirement before. Would you retire in Madison Square Garden, or would you want that one last fight in the UK?
Nah, listen, a lot of people were asking me about that, but I love this too much, and I love this whole process, getting ready for a training camp. 8 weeks ago, I was out of shape. Now I feel like I'm champion of the world. I can beat anyone on this planet, especially this guy, and I love that whole process. So, nah, I won't be retiring.
And George, just here.
Yeah.
There's a lot of talk, of course, the next fight for you, and a lot of people are lining up with Conor McGregor. You've said you might not want it. Is it definitely a fight you don't want, Mr. McGregor?
It's in my contract. It's Robert Whittaker, but he's the boss. Dana is the boss, so he decide what's gonna be next.
George is gonna be going back under the rock that he crawled out of. That's a fact. Boo that.
And Dana, just last one to yourself. Last weekend we've Tony Ferguson, the interim champion. Is he next for Conor? Is that definitely what you want, or is it Diaz, or what's your thinking on the situation?
What's next for Conor? Is that what you asked me?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, the Ferguson fight is the fight that makes sense.
Just over here. First for Michael. Oh, hi, Michael. I'll run. Oh, sorry, I'll run this side. Hi, first for Michael. I don't know if you've seen the trailer that came out on Saturday for your fight. It's a very glossy, like movie-style trailer. Obviously, it's really focused on George's comeback, not so much on your second title defense. You've been comfortable playing the villain in the past, but do you wish that it was a little more even or a little more in your direction?
Honestly, I couldn't care less. Listen, I've been fighting in the UFC for a long time, 12 years now. You don't need reminding that I'm here. We need reminding that George is back, because he's the guy that ran away. Now, fair enough, listen, he had a lot of pressure, he was champion for a long time, but that's the whole narrative of the story. George is coming back, stepping up a weight class. So yeah, it doesn't bother me. There's a bit more limelight on him. At the end of the day, it leaves me alone. The filming that stuff takes time. I've been in the gym, I've been training, defending takedowns, George, getting back to my feet, submission escapes. He's been working out, he's been doing his point karate. I keep an eye on you, George. I see what you do on Instagram. Do this little fucking point karate. That's bullshit. Ain't gonna work, pal.
Thanks. And just a couple for George. George, you said how much.
You think he's studying
me
by the information that I'm giving out to the public. He thinks he's getting an edge on me. You see how I was...
Oh, you're mind fucking me, George.
That's what he's thinking. He thinks he's getting an inch, you know?
I don't think anything.
I give away these information for
really
people
perfect.
to see.
Oh my God, he got me.
Getting
He
nothing
got me
on
so good. Shit. My coach, we've been working on the camp. Holy shit, he got us good.
You got it all wrong, wrong.
George, you talked about how much you respect Michael. Where would you rank him amongst the greatest middleweights ever? Top 5, top 3, somewhere in that area?
Yeah, he has beat. His resume speaks by itself. Now we're on stage, I'm fighting him. He's trying to get on my nerve and stuff. But as a fighter, I really respect him. He accomplished a lot of great things in the sport, and that's why I was very excited to take that fight. I didn't want to fight nobody else than Michael. Michael is for me, is the highest guy right now in the sport, you know. There is nobody else in the game right now that I can fight that will help my legacy as much as if I beat Michael Bisping.
The truth of the matter is that George fell into the trap of what a lot of people fall into. You fell into the trap of thinking he can beat me. That's it, plain and simple. That's why you want to fight me. That's why you keep asking Dana for me, nobody else. Because you think you can beat me. You think in your little tiny pea brain that you can beat me, but you can't. And that will be the mistake you made, the trap that a lot of people fall into. They look at me on TV, they say this guy's beatable. But what you can't see is what I've got in here and what I've got in here. So November 4th, you're going to find out, pal.
And just one more for George, sorry. You said you will retire if you lose. Is that the only way you see yourself ending your career, like for good, is if you go on a loss, or do you have a set amount of years or set amount of fights?
No, I take a fight at the time, and you know, like I used to see too much ahead of time. I'm trying to have fun, live the present moment, and now I'm very happy that doesn't get bigger than this. Michael Bisping, middleweight title, Madison Square Garden. It's a dream come true. I couldn't wish for a better scenario. It's great, you know, like, and I'm very happy. I wanted to have the biggest fight as possible for my comeback, and I'm at the best when I'm fighting under pressure, when I'm on the edge. That's when I perform the best.
Question for Dana, over here. I don't want to take away from UFC 217, but we're in Toronto. I got to ask, is a Toronto event on the 2018 agenda?
I have no idea. We just announced we're coming back to Canada here. And that card is going to be ridiculous, by the way, too. Very, very good card.
Got any more fights to announce?
Soon. What did we announce? Just the main event? Yeah. Ridiculous card. You guys are going to be happy. Huh? Last question? Yeah, go ahead.
We can hear you.
Thank you, sir.
Pretty sure.
George, I wanted to follow up on the OCD question from earlier. What were you working on the last 4 years? Because you have been open about it, which is admirable, in my opinion. But for people who don't understand OCD, can you give us an idea of what it's like in your mind? I know about it, but it's a struggle. So how have you experienced it? How have you gotten healthier with it? What's that process been like for you?
I've never been diagnosed with OCD. I'm saying that I am because I'm obsessed. And there's a big difference being obsessed and being obsessive compulsive. I've never been diagnosed. Like I said, maybe I am, maybe I'm not. I'm not at the point that I open the door 3 times when I go somewhere, you know. But I'm obsessed in a way that...
Don't make fun of it, George. It's a real illness. Don't make fun of it.
I'm a workaholic. When I want something, I will work hard until I obtain it.
And following up on, you mentioned neurological patterns earlier. What did you mean? You said your neurological patterns were off, you had to get
Yeah, some people that have a problem with ACL most of the time is because they call the valgus, is their foot point out and their knee buckle in. So it's the brain. It's used to when they jump, when they land in a specific way. This is not a muscular problem. It's a neurological problem. It's your nervous system that you need to correct. When you go do rehab, sometimes they only correct the muscular problem, but you need to go in the neurological pattern, and that's what I did. I work on correcting my neurological pattern, which makes the difference. So you take care of the problem at the source, not superficially.
And last one, sorry. And you mentioned also, when you were stepping away and you wrote in your book, about fears that are almost paralyzing and, talking about different things you're dealing with internally and in your life. And just didn't know if there's anything else that you could elaborate on as far as what you've been working on the last 4 years that's helped you get back into a place where you feel like you can enjoy fighting again and feel like you can enjoy doing this sport again.
Well, I've been away for 4 years. I defend my title so many times, You keep talking trash, but he doesn't understand because you haven't been there.
You're boring everybody, George. Please, I'm going to fall asleep in a minute.
So, you
Shut
only,
the fuck up.
Only a few people
We're talking
can
about
understand.
a fight, not your fucking knee problems, not your brain problems, not your alien problems, not your speech problems. We're going to fight November 4th. Fuck you all, Toronto. Yeah. I'll knock him out and I'll knock all you lot out. One by one, you fucking... Yes, GSP. The only guy from this country that can fight. And he can't even fight very well. What's happened to MMA in this country? What has happened? George disappeared, you all dropped off. George, come on. Represent.
All right. Calm down.
I'm good.
All right. Thank you, guys. I'm going to square these guys off here. Thanks for coming out. We appreciate it.
Most iconic venue in all of combat sports.
The world's greatest arena.
Madison Square Garden.
I'm cranking up on the throttle. Victory is mine.
Championship triple header.
Step back, I'm going in.
3 title fights at the mecca of combat sports.
This is how legends are made.
2 of the best strawweights in the world.
No one is taking this belt from me.
Both women are aggressive, relentless, and extremely unpredictable.
I want my belt. That's mine. I want it back.
TJ Dillashaw, come try me. Former teammates turned bitter rivals.
These guys do not like each other.
Georges St-Pierre is one of the best mixed martial artists of all time.
He will take on the winningest fighter in UFC history.
Michael Bisping.
Doesn't get any better than that. The biggest pay-per-view of 2017.
We're talking combat.